We fight how we train. Errol Spence and his work with Derrick James. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the technical aspects for why I think Errol Spence failed. We're going to be taking a look at his mitt work and kind of translating some of these ideas and these theories, kind of bringing it all together kind of at the end, and talk about some ways he can fix it. So one of the biggest problems that Errol Spence had, he had this very predictable rhythm where he would get on the line with the jab and he would continue his momentum going forward every time. Boom, throwing another jab here, coming forward, and it was very predictable. And Crawford wound up picking up on it and hurting Spence many times throughout the fight. This is just one example in the 5th round. But here's also Errol Spence doing it, jab, and then coming forward for defense. Okay? And this has to do with the way that he worked the mitts with Derrick James, and we're going to be going over the footage. We're going to be taking a look at that stuff. But this was a big problem that Spence had as he would come forward. Even when he didn't want to come forward, he was closing the distance, right? Even when he wasn't throwing punches. Okay, now obviously he is trying to get into position to throw punches, but there weren't punches there. Jab, pendulum, attack, block, counter. Again, catching Spence before, during, after, whenever he wanted, and it would always be because jab, he would pendulum after this move because he was forced to, right? And we're going to be taking a look at that. Another thing we're going to be taking a look at Errol Spence's hand placement, okay? As he comes to the line here where his hands are, we're going to be talking about that. It just made him very susceptible to a stepping jab because Crawford's so fast, right? If you're in position for your opponent, if you're in range for them to hit you with the stepping jab and they just throw that shot as fast as they can, you may not have time to react to it. You know, we're going to be taking a look at his hand placement and stuff during the mitts as well. And then another very interesting thing, as Errol Spence is coming forward, again, jab, pendulum, he's coming in, Crawford intercepts him. One very common and interesting thing is, as soon as Crawford would start opening up, he would start throwing punches, Errol Spence would have no defense for it. So we're going to be taking a look at all those little things in this film study here today. And we're going to be starting, here with some all access. Now, this is interesting because this is one of the only clips that is with Derrick James being southpaw. All right, and this is really important because, as we all know, Crawford fought the whole fight as a southpaw, as absolutely every single person who analyzed this fight predicted, except for Derrick James. Okay, so first thing, he's going to get on the line with the left, watch him bring both feet up, pendulum forward, get onto the line, throw the right hand, boom, boom, left hand, and now he's going to pendulum again forward. It's not a big deep pendulum because Derrick James didn't really move far away, but throws the right hand. This is the same exact pattern that's going on in this sequence here. Gets on the line with the left, pendulum, right. Gets on the line with the left, gets on the line, and he tries to pendulum in, and he winds up getting intercepted by this shot way before he even gets his move off. Okay? And this was a pattern that was present in a lot of the mitt work between them. Boom, boom, boom. Because this is all the pattern and movement that Errol Spence was learning on the mitts. Okay, now boxing takes place in kind of 3 phases, right? Unless we're Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward, we don't want to be on the line battling it out, just throwing haymakers. So there's going to be a time where we're out of range, right? We don't want to stay in range the whole time, so we're off the line, okay? And then there's the second phase where we get on the line, right? And that's where the phase where if our opponent is really fast at reacting, they're going to attack us the moment we get there, right? Think someone fast like Floyd Mayweather, pretty quick, right? Usually someone fast like Errol Spence. Terrence Crawford was just more crafty. One of the problems with Errol Spence is almost every single time he wants to get on the line, he's going to be doing it with a punch. And Terrence Crawford showed that he could get on the line many different ways and get around that jab and control that jab and be able to fight Spence in many different positions, have many different traps, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some other interesting things, okay? We're going to get back to the mitt work, but I just wanted to point this out. His sparring partner, okay? Errol Spence is the one in the blue, the southpaw. His sparring partner is orthodox. If you go back and you watch the All Access, this entire training camp, this entire session here is orthodox. And I don't understand if we're the only ones, right? All the coaches, they knew that something that we didn't, that Crawford was going to be orthodox. So when we think about that stuff, we really want to be mindful of how much time we spend, right? Training there. Now, a few things. Spence Crawford Media Day workout. As we take a look at the more evidence in here of the same stuff. Here he is, open stance, right? Derrick James is in orthodox, hitting the mitts orthodox, because Errol Spence is better at the mitts in orthodox, right? He's better at it. That means he gets a better workout doing orthodox, right? Why is Derrick James in charge of getting this guy a workout on the mitts? He can do that on the heavy bag. He needs to be working this man with technical stuff, all right? We're going to be taking a look at a lot of this stuff here. Now, Derrick James is going to switch here. Now he's going to go southpaw, and we're going to be watching him going forward. Good block on the way out. Good, like that. Jab, right? He's going to be coming forward. Hook, penduluming forward. Jab, coming forward, coming forward, coming forward. And again, same motion, right? A few things we want to talk about, okay? When Errol Spence is in punching mode, right? Sometimes there's defense here, okay? Sometimes there's defense here, boom, boom, right? But this is his striking mode. And there's another mode that he's going to use for defense, and we're going to talk about that, again, switching back to orthodox, right? Derrick James is in orthodox again and doing the mitts for him. We haven't changed clips. That was just them changing clips. We're going to go ahead and close that. Sometimes, well, let's go ahead and watch this clip here. Oh, come on. Well, we're going to switch and then switch back. Clever. Again, Derrick James in the orthodox stance, right? Working mitts with him because he's better at it. Now, check this out, okay? The jab, he's throwing the jab here, and he's throwing the jab at the left hand, not the right hand. He's mixed up here. He doesn't realize that Derrick James is orthodox right now, and now he's trying to throw the rear hand at the other hand, and then again. Now Derrick James is like, oh, okay, I realize. He realizes too, now he's throwing them correctly, right? And he's just a little bit mixed up here. He's just a little bit behind of what position and what mitt, because he throws them to the opposite hands in the other positions. Now, a few things that we want to talk about. Timing, right? We want to talk about timing. We want to talk about why was it that Errol Spence was standing in front of him. Well, look at him doing his striking routine. Is he doing anything but standing in front of Derrick James right now as a southpaw? Look at him get going. Where's the defense, southpaw, southpaw? Where is it? All he's doing is going straight forward, straight forward. Standing in front of him, right? Where's the boxing? Where's the defense? Where's the non-punching activity? Where? Okay? And it's really, really, really important to understand how all this is going to affect the fight, how all this is going to affect how he works, right? When he's standing in front of Crawford. Can he get on the line blocking a punch? Can he get on a line, right? And now again, take a look at his hands, right? Look at how low his hands are, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and get into the last clip. It's really interesting, but here he is playing mitts with him, right? He's southpaw, again, throwing a bunch of shots. How much of this workout has been southpaw? Less than half, by a wide margin, way less than half, okay? But notice, they weren't punching this whole time, right? Errol Spence is not punching at all. He's trying to control, he's trying to do stuff, but they don't have games for this, right? When you anticipate somebody's weight coming to the line, they don't have games for this. Now, real quick, if you guys want to learn how to hit the mitts, how to learn how to see somebody's weight coming, how to do what Crawford did to Spence, how to understand what the line looks like, okay? Check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System. I teach all this stuff. I don't want to talk shit to Derrick James, but I have a much better format, a much more understandable approach to getting on the line and all the things that you need to be able to achieve. And all the best ways to train it. The simplest ways to train it without a coach. Okay? Anyway, check it out. Also, I'm the first coach in history to be able to completely be able to teach punching power to anybody, teach you what to do with every single piece of your kinetic chain, from your feet to your hands, to your head, to your shoulders, to the window, to the wall. Okay? Now, he's not doing anything on defense, right? There's no head movement, right? He's not slipping. He's not catching a punch when something comes. Look at all this stuff, all this hand waving that's coming in here. Every single time you're in front of a guy and he does something, you can counter him. Every single time, because everything we do, we have to do with both feet. We have to drive all of our weight. You guys ever see a guy get faked out in basketball? Right? You go for a pump fake and the guy jumps. That's exactly what happens when you feint somebody. You feint them into their structure. Right? But that's exactly what you have to use to feint them in the first place. Right? Now, he's not countering. If you guys watch somebody like Teofimo Lopez catch and counter, boom, 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 lightning fast. Every single time you throw a punch at Teofimo Lopez during this drill, the mitt pays for it. There's a definitive target. There's something going on. But this is just gibberish. Right? And I want to say, like, I know that Errol Spence doesn't fight a lot of southpaws. Right? I know that. Now, again, look at how different the mitt work is now that there's a target. But look at Errol Spence standing there, doing nothing. Doing nothing when somebody's throwing punches at him. Look at Errol Spence standing there, doing nothing as soon as someone starts throwing punches at him. All right. Now, the fight wound up going something like this, right? Poof. Errol Spence getting hit by something he didn't see, right? We fight how we train. Derrick James predicted it better than anybody. He's like, boy, you gonna get your ass whipped. Why you not thinking of me? Why you not listening to me? And he's like, oh, I'm out. How dare you? But all those things had a profound impact on the fight. All of these really small and minor details. And the thing is this is a skill you need to have. You need to have this skill. But you need to understand when and how to use it. You need to understand when you have more control, how to have control over the line to be able to pull something off. There's just a lot of holes in the mitt work that they had going on. And the fact that they spent so much time doing mitts in the orthodox stance in the first place, sparring partners orthodox in the first place. You know, it felt like a massive misstep, you know? And of course his timing is going to be off, right? When he's constantly, I don't want to say constantly switching, constantly this, but how much time did they wind up spending doing the southpaw and the orthodox mitts? Or the southpaw mitts? Because he's so confused right here. He's getting the mitts wrong, right? These would be like think about this. These would be punches. Like if this guy's moving in and throwing a punch and he's controlling the line with a punch. Controlling the line with a punch, right? Doesn't that look more like he's supposed to slip or block than punch at the target? Anyway, that's not here or there, right? It's just because he's not interpreting, oh, I'm supposed to be throwing my jab right there to that mitt, not the other way around, right? But the fact that he exclusively trained the southpaw stuff, it looked like moving forward, right? So much of it is going forward, putting pressure, but also why did you just stand there, right? When he was like, I don't want to say throwing Errol under the bus, right? But like that crap that Eddie Reynoso pulled on Oscar Valdez when he lost to Shakur. I made a pre-fight video about that, predicting that was going to be a mismatch. Just like this one. I predicted that 100%. I used tons of film. I used previous film from Canelo's camp. I used previous film from this fight, It was a masterful prediction. And it was a one-sided beatdown. And they threw him under the bus. And then the next week, I had also had a prediction about Canelo getting his ass beat by Bivol. Because he can't box. He's not a boxer. He's a striker. And the same exact thing. You know, he had the same exact problems that Oscar Valdez had. But they threw his ass under the bus and tried to say he wasn't listening. No, you didn't train him correctly. Okay? And Derrick James throwing Errol Spence under the bus here. No, bro, your system needs work. Okay? Now, people were asking in the comments about Errol. Now that Derrick James has Anthony Joshua and he's got Ryan Garcia and Jermell Charlo. Number one, the difference between the first fight and the second fight, Castaño and Charlo 1 and 2, I thought that he did a great job teaching Jermell Charlo some of that stuff, that mitt work, getting him on board with the rhythm and the pace of getting back and to and fro on the line. One thing that Jermell has that Errol Spence does not have is a hook. And that's going to go a long way, all right? But Jermell Charlo is not as good as Errol Spence, but I think he's more explosive than Errol Spence by a wide margin. So I think he's fine, still learning from Derrick James. The interesting thing is, though, the Crawford was beating him with striking, right? Countering and striking. That's Canelo's game. Is Canelo going to be able to put out a Crawford-like performance? I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I don't think so. You know, again, Charlo, I think, is more explosive and more athletic and more circly and bouncy. He's not as moves straight on the line. He's more of a... He wants to be a boxer, but he's a puncher. Right? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia has a fantastic hook, but he has no idea how to get on the line. And I think that that's something that Derrick James is pretty good at teaching the basics of. I think he did a pretty good job of teaching Errol Spence how to get on the line. He just got to tell him how to do other shit when he gets there. Not just throw punches or get punched in the face. So I don't think that Ryan Garcia is in trouble there. I think that he's going to, you know, if you listen to Joe Goosen, right? Oh, you work with Ryan. You don't teach him. You don't train him. Which is funny because that's just because Joe Goosen, he can't do any of the things that Ryan Garcia can do. So he doesn't know how to help him improve those things, right? If you go back and you look at Derrick James, Errol Spence looks like a carbon copy of him, right? He's done exactly what Errol Spence has done, right? Now, Derrick James had a record of like 20-something and 7. And I think that Errol Spence is not there yet. But as he continues fighting, if he doesn't move trainers, that's exactly what his record's going to be. This was the pinnacle of his performance. He went 50-50 with Sean Porter. I thought he won. I thought Sean Porter won that fight. So I don't even have Errol Spence. Like, if I got my own tally, right? Floyd Mayweather's not undefeated, right? No, I'm just kidding. Errol Spence is not an undefeated fighter, right? Devin Haney is not an undefeated fighter, okay? Lomachenko beat him, kind of, right? But his record is going to wind up being very similar, right? He's going to go... Is he going to go 50-50 with Keith Thurman? Now, I do want to say Errol Spence was really tough in this fight. Okay, he was a little bit more durable than I thought. I thought that Crawford had the chance if he wanted to put Spence out in the first half of the fight. So Keith Thurman, I don't think Keith Thurman is as fast and as good at chaining his punches together as Terence Crawford, but he's very explosive. He's very explosive, and his single punch stuff I think is pretty powerful. I think he's got a pretty good puncher. So I don't know if that's a good fight for Crawford or for Spence, because I don't want to say that that Crawford put out the blueprint, because it's still going to be hard to fight Errol Spence. He fought really hard. He was still really strong. He didn't give up. He took every opportunity he saw, right? He did everything that he could do. So if you're Keith Thurman and you think you're going to get in the ring and just, smack him up, just know that every time that you're slipping, you're getting hit, right? But I still don't think it's a good fight for Spence. I think it's a bad fight. I think that even before Crawford, I'll say, you know what? It might have surprised me. Maybe this would be enough to show, like Kovalev said to Bivol, Canelo's not invincible. Don't think he's invincible. And then he went out and put on a master class and almost got robbed. But maybe Keith Thurman would have folded just because there were some times where Spence got hit with some big shots and he just was like, okay, I'm hurt. What do I do when I'm hurt? Throw punches like I'm not hurt so my opponent don't think I'm hurt. And he does that sometimes. He did a good job. I think he did it 2 or 3 times in this fight with Crawford. And maybe that'd be enough pre-Crawford, ass whooping to make Thurman fold, right? Because littler fighters like Collazo have been able to hurt him and put pressure on him. My boy Collazo, that guy was a dog. That guy was a pretty good fighter. He'll never get the shake that he deserves for his performances, but he should have been a star. That guy should have been a star. I hope he doesn't do hair now. But I don't think Thurman's a good fight for Spence. I don't think that there are all that many great fights for him at 154. I think that until he gets better with his feet, he understands how to get back to the ground safely, and he learns how to throw a hook. And part of that idea, learning how to throw a hook, is just being able to cross the line with a punch, right? He throws everything with his head on the line. Crawford had no trouble finding him, right? Crawford had no trouble finding this man's head. Look it. Why are you standing in front of him? Why are you standing in front of him? You guys, look at when he gets here. Boom. And now look at this. Why is he not throwing a right hook right here? Why is he not penduluming and shifting on him, right? And taking an angle? Why is he crowded right here and now falling off the line? Because he has nowhere to pendulum forward off of his right hand, off of his jab. He can't continue moving forward, so he has to take a step off. Why is his timing off, you guys? Because the patterns that he had practiced, you can't just jab and pendulum forward like a dummy. Like, the pendulum step is, again, it's the most dangerous thing that you can do in the ring. It's the most dangerous, but it's the most necessary thing. You have to put yourself in a position where you can pendulum on your opponent. And Errol Spence didn't put himself in a position to pendulum on Crawford. He just said, I'm doing it. I don't care what you think. Buh. I'm doing it. Jab. Here he comes. 2 feet off the ground, penduluming in, getting smashed. It's the most dangerous thing you can do. You have to be able to control your opponent and protect your pendulum step. And Spence just thought he was just going to run in and jump on his line and smash him. He thought, for some reason, boop, boop, because it's all he practiced, right? Again, this is why his timing is off. This is why he stood in front of somebody and just threw punches. He wasn't moving around. I don't know what Derrick James expected him to do. He fought. If you guys watch the fight, he fought exactly like this. This is exactly what he did the whole time that he had a southpaw opponent. 100% of the time he had a southpaw opponent. And that's exactly how he fought him, right? Just jabbing and just keep on trucking through. Come on. Come on. Just keep trucking through. Nope. Wait, hold. I ran out of space over there. All right, let me get back over here, guys. All right. There we go. Thank you. I looked kind of silly there. Thanks for switching back to orthodox so I can look like I really know what I'm doing again. Thank you. Thank you. And again, where's the catch and counters? Where's the pull counters? Where's the functional defense? How is he supposed to make Crawford pay for missing a punch if he doesn't practice making his coach pay for missing a punch? If he doesn't practice correct defense? If these drills don't make any sense? If he's not fucking Jonathan Fabiaing, right? If he's not Charlie Zing it on the mitts with this guy, right? Now, nobody wants to be part of literally the biggest fight in welterweight history, second biggest fight in welterweight history, maybe third or fourth or fifth. And then like, oh man, let's go criticize every little thing that he did while he has the biggest stable of fighters and he was the fighter coach of the year. I'm the first coach to learn and understand that driving from both feet whenever you do anything, punching this and that, I'm the first one to understand how it affects all of your technique. I'm the first one to understand how to correctly punch, how to use 2-foot theory. There are fighters who do it on accident. Their coaches have no idea how to teach that. They call it athleticism. You're born with it, right? People don't understand the mechanics, driving your weight from the ground. But most fighters succeed in spite of their coaches, not because of them, right? And all the things that Derrick James can do that he doesn't know how to teach, if you can do them too, you can train with Derrick James because he won't have to teach you the stuff he doesn't know how to teach you, right? And that's something that an ex-professional fighter can do. An ex-professional fighter who was an athlete, right? Who could kind of pendulum and drive his weight, and that's just what it takes to be fast because that's the only way that it works. But because he didn't understand it the way that he learned it, right? How could he teach it to someone else? Why is Terrence Crawford the only fighter in Bomac's stable? Well, does Bomac look like he punches with both feet? And Bomac, I don't know if you listen to my videos, bro, but you got to take your health more seriously, okay? I know you got a big victory and all that stuff, man. If you really got some shit that you think you can teach the world about boxing and you want to make a difference in people's lives, you're going to take your health seriously. Because if people are looking up to you and they know that you're a credible source to learn from, to be inspired from, give them something to be inspired about, right? Make sure you're healthy enough, you're around to actually make a difference. Okay? Tell you what, Derrick James is going to be here teaching this bad boxing here for a long time. No offense, Derrick James. But Derrick James, but Bomac, I do want to point out, does not understand the 2-foot punching theory and weights, the weight management system of getting your weight down and driving it up into the target, right? Otherwise, there'd be more people in his stable of fighters that were able to achieve that level of success, right? Because they've been doing it for years. And if you guys check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System, it doesn't actually take that long to start getting good at it, okay? Anyway, yeah, it was a pretty great fight. I mean, it went exactly how I thought it was going to go. It ended exactly the way I thought it was going to end. Yeah, so, yeah, am I forgetting anything? No. Yeah, alright. Thanks, guys.